This is the Innioasis Y1. Out of the package, it's a decent little budget player, but with Rockbox installed, it becomes a whole different device. The install is straightforward, but there are two spots that nearly break mine, and I'll show you exactly how to avoid them. Quick recap, I'm on a mission to find the perfect offline MP3 player, and the Y1's hardware deserved better software. So that's where Rockbox comes in. For those who don't know what Rockbox is, it's an over 2 decades old, free open source, volunteer-made firmware that replaces the stock software on almost all MP3s that exist. It's more commonly known for iPod flashing. A lot of brands have Rockbox versions. And also the 3DS is getting a Rockbox version as well, which I find very funny. It does have some cons. It does give a slightly worse battery, but airplane mode does solve the issue mostly, unless you want to use Bluetooth, and it does not have video playback unless you add plugins, which for me neither matters. I just want music, but just so you know. For the installation, you obviously need your Y1, you need a USB-C cable, usually you can use the one it came with or another good quality one that works, which is harder to find than it looks like, and also you need a computer. I'm following the official Innioasis app guide linked below. Keep it open in a tab that's your real reference instructions, you know. That's I'm gonna show you the flow of the whole thing and the potholes that have been happening especially lately. One real warning, I think it's important to say it, this is firmware flashing, so there's a small chance of breaking the device. The good news, and I tested it, a break is recoverable, so you just have to reinstall the stock build and you'll be back. Don't panic if anything goes sideways, just make sure to back up your music, make sure to not cut and paste, and don't rush the power off step. First, make sure to install the drivers before installing the updater. Everything will be linked down below, so just check it out. Then you install the Innioasis updater and you open it. In the updater, set device type to A, only switch to B later if your scroll wheel doesn't work, but that's after everything. Set the model to Y1, the software type to Rockbox ROM. Now, when picking a build, choose a stable option, never nightly unless you know what you're doing. Nightlies are like betas. For the resolution, you can go the stable 240p. It does have more themes and less hassle. But I did choose the 360 because it's slightly sharper. It does have fewer themes, but the function is the same basically. You hit install, restore, and you wait. The zip downloads, it extracts, and it takes just a few seconds. Don't touch anything. And when it tells you to, power off the Y1. On Windows, that's usually enough. On Mac or Linux, it may ask you to grab a paperclip and press a hidden button at the bottom, between the headphone jack and the charging port, until you hear a click. Then plug in via USB-C, put it down and don't touch it. It will take care of everything for you. The updater then congratulates you and tells you to disconnect. Here is where I struggled. The update gets downloaded, but nothing happens when the Innioasis is turned off, then plugged in. Then you get a failed update screen that appears. The first thing to try when you get this is to unplug the Y1, switch to a different USB port, power it off again with the pin, and then try again. This can unblock everything. Maybe it's a port issue, maybe that's a cable issue. If that doesn't work, change the cable, as I said. USB-Cs are quite sensitive, so make sure to check if the cable you're using works properly. If that doesn't work either, Reinstall the drivers, even if they look fine. A fresh install sometimes fixes more than you'd think, honestly. If you're still stuck after everything, restart your computer. Genuinely, that clears whatever the updater is hanging on, and that kind of solved one of my issues. The last resort that worked for me was reflash the latest stock firmware. For me it was 3.07. So basically you reinstall the original firmware but the latest version. That helped me a lot. Also, showing battery status to off helped me as well with the device to actually like power down completely when you plug it in, which is what the updater needs. Another issue. So you went back from Rockbox to the firmware and you break your device, or you did a factory reset and you're now stuck and can't go back to Rockbox for some reason. You should be able to dual boot, but this is basically breaking your device. It's easy, but it's annoying. You just have to use the Innioasis updater and reinstall the original firmware. It will override the Rockbox install and you would just have to reinstall it again afterwards. One quick tip: if your music doesn't show up in Rockbox, make sure to check your folder structure. Your music needs to sit in a folder at the root called music or whatever it is that isn't Android, Rockbox, or themes, okay? Then you go into settings, general settings, database, and you select directories to scan and you point it to your file. You don't have to do this every time. I did not have to do it. It's just a tip. What you can also do is make the scanning be automatic. This way, every time you add to the SD card, it scans. And that's it. If you want to switch and you do the dual boot thing, you can switch to the original firmware from Rockbox directly. And then you have to press the back button first and then press the play button. I will put it on the video here, and it will just turn black and the Rockbox will appear again. Rockbox also allows you to personalize and improve the sound. It will not turn the device into a full hi-fi experience, but it does kind of improve it a bit. Keep in mind, EQ depends on your headphones. What worked for my old pair of Yamaha and my Apple wired headphones might not work for you. But what I did was using the rock equalizer and increasing the bass by 3 decibels. This solved the majority of the issues for me. Is it hi-fi? No, but apparently the Y2 is, so I'll make sure to check that out. Is it perfect? No. The battery does take a small hit, but airplane mode solved the issue almost entirely for me. The setup is genuinely fiddly. That said, that for a budget player, Rockbox made sure to take advantage of the hardware that it has. It doesn't have freezing issues anymore, so I'm very excited to use it every day again. Before you go, remember that the Y2 has come out, so they have added a ton of things and listened to the community quite a lot. They have added an external SD slot. Apparently the device is now hi-fi, so I'm very excited to see what it is about. I have not seen any hands-on reviews yet, so let's just see. They have also added physical buttons. So the real question is whether Y1 plus Rockbox, will still win on value. Maybe it will. I'm just hopeful that the Y2 software and hardware improvements will make it enough to not have to install the Rockbox on it. So I will post a review as soon as I can get my hands on it, so subscribe to catch it. New video almost every Friday. If this saved you some of the pain it cost me, really helps. Have a good one.